Hi there, it's Professor McDonald. In this video, I will be answering your questions as I always do on Monday evenings and Thursday evenings, usually as fast as I can, but as late as I can also, so that students that are still working on their assignments and submitting questions can also get their questions answered. Don't forget, guys, that if you need an answer from me sooner, you can come to my Zoom office hours. You can also get help from the SLC tutors and have them send you proof of attendance so you can get extra credit towards your tests, and you would upload that proof of attendance in Blackboard. So the first question we have here, we are given basically paired data, pre-tests and post-test scores of some kind of, who knows what kind of test. There isn't a lot of context given here, but we are asked to find the range and the standard deviation for each of the tests, the pre-test and the post-test. So in order to find the range, you'll want to find the minimum of the pre-test scores, and then you can copy that to the right for the post-test scores. You'll want to find the max of the pre-test scores, and then you can copy that to the right for the post-test. Once you do that, guys, just double check, look in your pre-test scores and make sure that the smallest value is 0 and the largest value is 15. Same thing for the post-test scores. Just make sure everything is calculating correctly. And then to get the range, you would just subtract the maximum minus the minimum, and you can copy that over. Of course, you don't have to use Excel to do these. You could actually do them by hand. It's simple subtraction there. And then the standard deviation, if you don't want to do the whole mathematical formula out, since we're not asked to show the steps, we can just use the standard deviation .s because it is a sample. It said so in the problem. So the .p version of this is for if it's a population. The .s is what you want to use for samples. And I just clicked on the column there, and now I'm copying that to the right. So those are my answers for that one. The next question, let's take a look. So the student sent me, oh, let me back up a step. I wanted to see, yes, there are videos on this one. So I don't mind that you guys are sending me questions that have videos, but the thing is that since there are videos, when I get a question from a student, sometimes I watch the videos and it seems like it's explaining it the same way I would here in this video. So I think I could do a better job of helping you if I knew why these videos weren't helpful. So maybe in the future that will be a way of getting better help from me, since those videos tend to be exactly the way I'm going to show it to you here in this video anyway. So if you need something different, it helps to specify why these didn't work for you. And the next question here says to calculate the standard deviation for this set of sample data, and notice that the formula down here is given, and this is what we're going to need to use in order to work this out. And you're going to be subtracting, well, first calculating the mean, then subtracting it from each one of these x values, and then once you have all of those differences, you're going to square each one and then add them together. Then you will divide by n minus 1, and finally take the square root. So let's do that here. I'll show you how simple it is to do if you're using Excel. I'll just clear this out. So first I started by calculating the average of my x values. Then I calculate the first x value minus the mean of 7. And I just typed that in as a regular number because I don't want that to change when I copy the formula. And then I can take that difference that I just calculated and raise it to the power of 2 to square it. And once I have the first difference and squared difference for my first number, I can just copy that down all at once. And now I will add those using the sum function in Excel. And now I'm ready to take the variance, which is the part of the formula that's under the square root. And you divide by n minus 1 since this is for a sample. N here is the sample size, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of data. So N is 5, and so I'm going to divide by 4, one less. Now I'm ready to take my standard deviation by just square rooting the variance that I just calculated. Now the next question is very similar, and actually the student who sent me this made a comment that this has the same data for as the last question did, but that the answer was different. And yes, the answer will be different from the last question because the formula is different, because this is a population calculation. So let me show you how that looks different. So even if I change the numbers here to the exact same numbers in this problem, I'm just going to change them 9, 7, 3, 1, 14. And so if I try to give this answer, it's going to be wrong because instead of dividing by n minus 1, now we're doing the population standard deviation and the population variance and the population mean. So the calculation for the population mean does not change. It's still the average of all the x values, but the calculation for the variance will be different. It's going to be dividing the sum here by the total n instead of n minus 1. So where I divided by 4 in the previous problem, I'm only going to divide by 5 here, and that will give me the correct answer. As you can see, 4.58. Okay, and just another reminder, guys, all these questions, almost every single question I received did have a video, but no mention was made about why the video wasn't helpful. So not to beat a dead horse here or anything, but if I'm going to be able to provide you extra support beyond what's in the videos, it's really helpful to provide some information about how you got stuck with the video, what wasn't working for you in that explanation. Right, now we have another question here asking to calculate the lower class boundary of the first class of this frequency distribution. The first class has a excuse me, let me start again. The first class has an upper class limit of 239. The second class has a lower class limit of 240. So we want the boundary between those two numbers, 239 and 240. So halfway between those is 239.5. Now, if you want to do an actual mathematical, whoop, I got it wrong. Hold on. Oh, I misread the directions. The lower class boundary for the first class. So that would be, sorry, I assumed they wanted the class boundary between these two classes here, but now that I'm reading it again, it does say the lower class boundary, which would be half a point before the first class limit. So that would be 219.5. All right, moving on, we have calculate the coefficient of variation was the part of this question that the student asked me to provide. And again, we do have videos, so I don't know if this explanation is going to help more than those videos, but I hope so. So let me take the data and copy it over. I think I already have it copied as a matter of fact. Let's see. Okay, yes. So one thing I noticed is that with this question, when you open the video, even if you don't watch it, you'll see in the beginning of it, the coefficient of variation is defined as the ratio between the standard deviation divided by the mean. So all you need to do is calculate the mean. Again, you can use the average function in Excel, or you can just add all your values and divide by n. Then you can use the sample standard deviation, stdev.s, to do the sample standard deviation. Now to get your coefficient of variation, all you do is take your standard deviation and divide by the mean. Now they did say to put this in decimal form, so you can move the decimal to the right 2 places, or you can multiply it by 100 to make it look like it's supposed to already without you having to move the decimal. And a third option is to right-click, format cells, and choose percent format. But you wouldn't want to multiply by 100 and then change it to a percent because that would be moving the decimal place 4 times instead of 2. So any one of those 3 ways, and that's how you get that answer. Okay, the last question I have in my inbox here is a question about this question again, yet the student wasn't asking about how to do the question. They were saying that it wouldn't show up, that it was just blank, a blank screen. And I don't know if that is your computer or your browser, but I would maybe try a different browser. So if you're using Safari, maybe try Chrome. If you're using Chrome, maybe try Firefox and see if that helps. And if it does not help, please do contact me either in course mail inside Blackboard or in my Palm Beach State email to see if I can help you get some more support for that. All right, so that is all of the questions here for this time, and I hope you guys are rocking this test, and I will see you in the next recording or in my office hours. I'd love to see you guys stop by sometime. And as I said before, just make sure, guys, that if you're waiting on an answer for a question and there's too much time between my recording postings, just come on by to my Zoom office hours. You never need an appointment. The link is in the course information start here page. So again, hope you're having a great time, and I'll see you next recording.